No matter where you are in your photography journey, whether you've been doing this for 2 years or 20 years, I can guarantee that you found yourself face to face with an impossible question. One that seemingly has no correct answer. You've agonized over this question countless times, maybe even on a daily basis. You've lost sleep. You've lashed out at your family. You've cried on the toilet, but none of it has helped. You still wake up every day furious at the cruel world that you never asked to be born into. That question? What's the perfect camera bag? Unfortunately for us poor photographers, there is no such thing as a perfect anything. No perfect camera, no perfect lens or lights, and most importantly, no perfect camera bag. There's always one thing that holds back your favorite bag from being the one that does it all, your in-game camera bag, if you will. And that is the cross that we all must carry. And it's a heavy one, but today I thought I might try to make this a little easier on you by showing you every camera bag I currently use. I'm gonna go over how I decide to use each bag for different types of shoots, what they're best for, and which one you should consider using based on the type of photography that you do. So strap in, as we do a deep dive of every camera bag I own. What's up? My name is Walter. I'm a photographer and commercial filmmaker based in the southeastern United States, and on this channel, I'm all about trying to put the fun back into professional photography. So, if that's something that makes you go, subscribe for more crap from me. So yeah, there's no such thing as the perfect camera bag. Everyone's needs are different based on what you value most in your shooting habits. And for me, someone who does a semi-wide variety of projects across photography and video, I finally had to accept that there's just no one bag that can do it all for me. So I have several different types of bags that I choose to use for different gigs based on what that gig calls for. So here's how I want to do this. I'm going to go through each one of my camera bags one by one in order of least used to most used and talk about what I like and don't like about each one, as well as give you my recommendation for if you should use that particular bag based on what kind of photographer that you are. So without any further ado, let's get into it. The first bag I'm showing here, which is the least used bag now for me, is the Holdfast Quiver. This is actually one of my better looking bags. I've always kind of been a form over function kind of person, meaning that I'm much more likely to purchase and use a product that sacrifices some usability in favor of just looking really good. I mean, just look at my Nikon ZF and try to tell me that its aesthetic isn't a huge reason I got it. Anyway, this is a great looking bag that is unfortunately pretty much never used anymore due to one big thing that's not even its fault. And that is because I no longer use the straps that you're supposed to use with it. This is the Holdfast Moneymaker Dual Camera Strap, an extremely popular setup for wedding photographers and other event capture photographers that allows you to easily use two cameras at once, both always at the ready when you need them. These straps are actually they're really good. Very solidly made, very reliable, so why don't I use them? And I have 3 reasons. They chafe the skin on my shoulders pretty badly. That's reason enough. My cameras swing too much around me when I'm holding them, and they bonk things and people, and then the whole setup just looks a little intimidating. And to me, all of that is enough for me to just not want to use this harness anymore. And in turn, I also no longer use the Holdfast Quiver, because see, I bought this bag because it was kind of made to hook onto the back of the harness, meaning you always have full access to whatever's in the bag as it's always on your person while you're shooting. But since I don't use the Moneymaker anymore, I just don't use the Quiver anymore either. Kind of simple as that. But if you do use the Moneymaker or a similar dual harness, I can actually highly recommend the Quiver. It's a little pricey, okay? Just like any other Holdfast product, but that's because it's very high quality, just not a product for me anymore. So this bag would be good for somebody specifically who uses the Holdfast Moneymaker harness and wants a bag that can stay on that harness to keep everything on your body while you're shooting. Next up is the PGY Tech OneMo backpack. This is the 25-liter version. I purchased this bag a little while back to use when I was traveling more extensively with a lot of equipment, and I actually made a video earlier this year showing how I packed this particular bag to shoot a wedding on the other side of the country. And if you watch that video, you'll see just how much crap I can really stuff in this bag. That's kind of the main appeal of it. You can put a lot in here, including, and this is very important to me, a laptop up to 16 inches. So I can actually put in my 16-inch MacBook Pro and have everything I need for a longer photo trip all in one bag. So why is this bag down so low on my list? I have 2 reasons. I don't do a ton of traveling like that anymore, and the bag just isn't my style. I travel for weddings when I need to, and if I'm driving, I don't need this bag. I can use a different bag that I'm gonna show you later, or a couple of different bags, like one for my camera equipment and then a dedicated just normal computer bag. So this PGY Tech backpack really only gets used if I'm flying somewhere and need to keep my travel as streamlined as possible. And at that point, this backpack is my personal item on the flight. I simply cannot ever let a bag with expensive equipment be separated from me at any point during my travels. You're just asking for trouble at this point. So this bag gets used only when it's absolutely necessary. And I also just don't like how it looks. I've really steered away from that really techie look that a lot of camera bags and accessories have sometimes. So this really sleek black look is just not one that I like anymore. So good bag, but I'll only use it when necessary. So this bag would be good for the traveling photographer, someone who's on the road all the time and has a relatively expansive camera kit that they need to bring with them, but you know, they also need a laptop for dumping footage and editing and other work while they're on the road. Moving right along, this is the Peak Design Everyday Sling, specifically the 6-liter version. I originally got this bag to do kind of what I wanted the Holdfast Quiver to do, just in the Peak Design family instead. And like most Peak Design bags I found, it's actually a lot smaller than you think it would be, which definitely takes some points off in my book. You've got a couple of dividers inside to separate lenses and cameras, but do not expect to be able to fit a whole lot in here. If you shoot with maybe one camera and 1 or 2 smaller lenses, you might find this to be a good fit for you, but otherwise you'll probably find this bag to be a little frustrating to deal with. I also just don't like, again, that techie look that especially Peak Design does a lot, so this just doesn't really do much anymore for me. It's only a little higher up on my list because I use it often to give a camera and lens back and forth to my friend when he, often needs to borrow a small setup for me to do event capture and stuff like that. So he likes it for that, and therefore it does technically get used often, just not by me. So this bag is good for someone who needs a solid and secure way to carry a very small camera kit and doesn't really care about the aesthetics of it that much. Okay, up next is what I call my Amazon Special. The official name is the Bag Smart DSLR Waterproof Camera Backpack Anti-Theft Large Photography Bags for Photographers, fit up to 15-inch laptop with rain cover gray. But that's stupid. So to me, it's just my Amazon Special. Simply put, it does what it needs to do. I can fit a camera, maybe 2 depending on how big, and 2 to 3 lenses, and then it's got this little pocket up top for other things and a laptop compartment. It's very utilitarian, and unlike the previous bag, is much smaller and keeps me honest with what I really need to bring with me when I'm traveling. And I only use this bag when I know I can get away with a smaller camera kit, but still need to bring my laptop. It's actually the bag I brought with me on a trip to New York earlier this year, another trip I made a whole video about if you'd like to watch that after this one. Really not much more to say about this bag other than it has held up surprisingly well for a very cheap camera backpack from Amazon. This would be a great bag for the enthusiast or anyone who just likes to travel light with their camera gear but still needs a laptop with them during their travels. Okay, now we're getting into the good stuff. This is one of my favorite hidden gems in the camera bag realm here. This is basically a much cheaper version of the ever popular Pelican case of the same size. This is the Apache 5800, and I'll be the first to tell you that you for sure can tell that it's cheaper than the Pelican, okay? Compared to a real Pelican, it's just not as rugged. The plastic is thinner and lighter, and I'm actually on my second one as the wheels just kind of fell off of my first one, but I did use the first one a lot on all kinds of shoots, dragging it all over different kinds of terrain, so I definitely beat the crap out of it, and it lasted longer than I thought it would, and I liked it enough to just get a second one, and it's holding up just as well. What's also cool is that because it's the exact same dimensions as its Pelican counterpart, you can get inserts and dividers for it that are originally made for Pelican. So I have this red insert in here as well as a lid organizer for accessories, and it's great. The main reason I use this case so much is because of how much it can hold, how secure it all feels in the hard plastic exterior, and how malleable the dividers are inside. My day job is as a video director at a marketing agency, so that's where I use this the most. I could put multiple Sony cameras and lenses in here, move dividers around if I only need one camera instead of 2, different lenses of different sizes, flashes, microphones, whatever. I'm constantly shifting the interior of this case to fit all kinds of different gigs, and that right there is where its value is for me. Just extremely versatile, and while definitely not as robust as a real Pelican, it still very much gets the job done for me, and I don't really have any complaints about it. So I highly recommend this case for anyone like me who just needs a lot of equipment for certain gigs but is able to roll it instead of carry it on their back all the time. And it's also a really good match with the next two bags I'm about to talk about, which will also finish out our list. This is the Domke F2 and the Domke F6, a little bit smaller, which is the official name, which I think is fun. Two bags that I'm talking about at the same time because they share a ton of similarities and get used pretty much the same amount by me. I stumbled upon the Domke bags a couple of months ago when I was kind of mindlessly surfing eBay for a more vintage style camera bag. Like I mentioned earlier, I've really moved away from the techie look of camera bags and accessories and really like the more retro and vintage style things, which these bags absolutely nail. Domke has a very cool origin story. The very first one was designed in 1975 by Jim, you guessed it, Domke. He was a photojournalist for the Philadelphia Inquirer right before he was supposed to cover that year's Republican National Convention. And this was at a time when there weren't really any good dedicated camera bags for photojournalists specifically. They were either repurposing some kind of other bags like ones made for fishermen or just keeping all their crap in the trunk of their cars, which is not very ideal for the journalist on the move. So Jim here had enough. He took inspiration from those very fishing bags that photographers have been repurposing, and he designed the original Domke F3, and the rest is history. An entire line of bags was born from that original one, and decades later, Domke is now owned by Tiffin, but still creating the same bags with that same original design ethos of comfortable, malleable, easily accessible, and aesthetically pleasing without sacrificing function. I first got the F6 a little bit smaller from a seller on eBay and immediately fell in love with it so much that I wanted another one that was just bigger. So I found an F2, which is the same as the original one that was created in the same color as the F6 already had, and I did not hesitate to order that immediately. So now as a pair in my workflow, I've been bitten by the Domke bug, and I'm probably gonna get another one pretty soon, maybe an even bigger one that can also hold my laptop when I need it. And these bags really just strike the perfect balance for me between form and function. The smaller F6 is what I take with me on a quick weekend trip to see family, do an engagement session or family session, or really just anywhere where I only need one camera with a lens attached and maybe one extra lens for safety. And the bigger F2 is what I bring with me when I just need more. So like two cameras, more lenses, more pockets on the side for flashes and other accessories. And between these two bags, it's really all I need as long as I don't need my laptop in the same bag. My favorite thing about these bags is how comfortably they sit on my hip when they're strapped on me. Because of the material of the bags and the fact that there's no real protective padding, they're extremely lightweight and form-fitting, so it's just incredibly comfortable on your person all day. And because they're shoulder bags instead of backpacks, it's that much easier to access the inside of the bag when you need it without having to take it off and set it down somewhere. And I can even switch lenses on my camera, like resting on the bag itself as it's on my side. That's so handy. I can also keep a second camera just sitting in the bag, whip it out when I need to get my shots, and then slip it back in when I'm done using it. They come with these soft little 4-compartment dividers that I've gone back and forth on if I actually need them or not, so I've actually been considering just throwing them out and just tossing all my crap in the bag and just pull stuff out as I need it. That might give you a lot of anxiety to hear that, but who cares? Whatever. One of my favorite wedding photographers, Kevin Mullins, has been using a big Domke bag for years now, and that's what he does. He doesn't use any dividers or any protection at all. He throws all of his equipment in there and it just floats around, which was crazy when I first heard that, but he said that it's never been a problem for him. And so, you know what? If it's good enough for Kevin Mullins, it is absolutely good enough for me. I can't speak highly enough about these bags, and hopefully just by looking at them, you can decide if they'll be a good fit for you. There are a ton of different sizes and designs on the Tiffin website, so you're sure to find one that fits your needs. Or you can be like me and just own multiple for different applications. The only thing I think would hold someone back from getting a Domke bag would be its lack of protective padding. You know, these bags were not designed to be shoved into an overhead compartment in an airplane or thrown around willy-nilly, you know, because the material is solid and it keeps your gear safe from weather and whatnot, but that gear will not be safe from like getting banged around a ton if that's how you do your work. So just keep that in mind. And for me, these bags pair very nicely with my Apache 5800, as I can keep heavy stuff in there during my actual travels. And then when I'm out and about actually shooting, I can put whatever I need to in a Domke bag and then go about my business. So if that sounds like you, please go check out a Domke bag, and I don't think you'll be disappointed. Okay, that's finally it. Those are all the camera bags I currently own, along with my personal recommendations for who should use them, and I hope you got some kind of value from this. But I'd love to hear what you think. Do you own any of these bags? Do you love or hate any of them? Are you like me? Do you shoot all kinds of different things from week to week and often have different needs with different bags? I'd love to hear all your thoughts in the comment section, and I do my best to read and reply to everyone when I have a few spare minutes in my week. And thank you for dropping by the channel. You know, whether you're a regular viewer / subscriber or this is your first video of mine to watch, I appreciate that support. I make one video a week. And if you want to support me and what I'm doing here for free, you can subscribe to keep up with those videos, like this video and leave a comment, all things that tell the algorithm that what I'm doing here offers some sort of value for potential viewers. And you can support me even further by checking out my Bougie Film preset pack, the link for which is in the description, along with the completely free Bougie Film Chrome preset, which is all yours as a gift from me to you for watching this video. And you can also check out previous videos of mine, because if you like this one, I'm sure there's something else in my catalog that you'll like as well. And if you don't want to do any of that, that's totally fine, because I will see you in the algorithm in 6 months.